Well, last week you may remember the Focus Foundation's Skip Cowan shared some common mistakes that we all make when we buy a car. Many of us have done it. And Skip's partner, Emilee, is with us today to talk about the next step in the car buying process. Hi, Emilee.
Hi, Nikki. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad to have you back because, you know, we wanted to continue that conversation. And let's talk first about the fact that the finance office is really where the deal is sealed. We all know that. And so, okay, if you're not careful in that spot, you can actually kiss your good deal goodbye. That's something we all have to deal with. So a deal is done, everyone's all smiles, everybody's really happy, and then we move into the finance office and then things start to change.
Exactly.
So explain how that all works.
Okay, well, I want to reiterate something that Skip said last week, and that is if you walk onto a car dealership lot and you think you have to have this car no matter what, you're going to get taken for a ride. So you
literally
really
take
exactly. So you really don't want to walk on thinking that you are married to this car, you have to have this car is going to be so great for me, I have to have it, because you're going to have a problem right then and there. But you're right. A great deal could have been made with a salesman. You guys work everything out. They do initial pull of your credit report.
Yes.
Things look good, that you might be qualifying for like an introductory rate, something that they're running commercials on or whatever. Oh, yeah. But once you go into the finance office, things could potentially change there. So yeah, that's why I'm here today.
And you need to read that small print in those commercials, by the way.
That's right.
So basically, even though the credit score's been checked, everybody's, you know, you've got that all done in the showroom area.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you go back into the finance area. Is it actually checked again?
It is checked again.
Okay.
So what they do is they initially pull like an initial credit report, a credit score, just to see roughly what you're going to qualify for. The reason being is that they have a 5-tier system based on your credit score. So of course you want to be in the higher interest rate. You know, you're one of the lower interest rates, excuse me, the higher tier. Right. So along with doing all the homework that you did on the vehicle, so you need to research the type of car you want, all of the add-ons that you're going to purchase, maybe a spoiler or maybe an auto keyless entry, something like that. So you need to research all of that. You've done the best job finding out exactly what the dealer is going to pay for the car, what the markup is, so you can negotiate the best possible price on the floor with the salesman. But when you go into the finance office, it could be a different story because maybe you haven't pulled your credit report yourself. You don't know what it's on, what is there on the report. You might find things that you thought, well, I thought this went away, I thought this wasn't an issue.
You should be able to ask, can I see what you're looking at, right?
Right, exactly. Find out what they're seeing, but you should have already seen it yourself. That's some of the homework that you should have done before you came to the dealership. Prepare yourself with all of this before so you're not surprised walking into the finance office. Right. Because you could have done the best job negotiating the price on the vehicle. However, they make a lot of money on what's called the back end in the finance office with all of these add-ons.
Yeah. Now, in the finance office, do we often find that monthly payment changes based on what we heard before in the other room?
It can, because the salesperson could have quoted you an initial monthly payment, and that could be all fine, well, and good. But upon further investigation of your credit report, that could be a little different based on your interest rate. Yeah. And also all the things that you might be willing to buy in the financing office that maybe you hadn't thought about before. Yeah. And what you should do is also find out what they're going to offer you in the finance so that you're not walking into this office completely blind, unaware of what they're saying. And you know what, if you don't understand this stuff, don't be afraid to take somebody with you, maybe a mom, a dad, a sibling, a spouse, somebody who's been through this a little bit more than you and is more comfortable with it.
Well, you mentioned before about add-ons, that sometimes once you get into the finance office, they start throwing in things like a spoiler or what have you. So what are some of the add-ons that are available that we should know in advance?
Well, there's a couple of things that they're going to offer you. Okay. The first one being is, we have it listed on the screen here. It's a vehicle service contract. And what that is it's basically an extended warranty. Okay. So this is for after the factory warranty runs out, which is usually 3 months, or excuse me, 3 years or 36,000 miles. Right. Okay. Now these are a little bit pricey of an item. It's going to cost you between $1,700 to $3,500 depending on the vehicle. Okay, so you need to think, how long am I going to keep this vehicle? Am I going to keep it after the term? You know, do I need this actual extended warranty?
Can I ask you a quick question? Is that decision predicated often on whether you're on a leased vehicle versus a vehicle that you're buying?
It really could depend. Okay. I'm not sure the details of certain leases. Maybe they will require you to have that, but a lease usually is going to be shorter than 3 years, shorter than the factory warranty. Okay. In which case, I don't think you need to worry about it. So I think about when I did this personally, the make and the model of my car was pretty solid. It didn't tend to have any issues. So I thought, if this car is built as well as I think it is, I don't need to buy this. It's pretty expensive.
One less thing to add on.
Exactly. And keep in mind, all of these add-ons, if you're financing the vehicle, you're paying for the add-on plus your interest rate. So the cost that they're quoting you, actually, if you do the math and you add the interest, it's going to be a lot higher. Oh my goodness. Keep that in mind. So with a lot of these add-ons, if you really want them or need them, it might be wise to purchase them aside from the deal, just pay cash for the items.
Now, another add-on that I know is the gap insurance. What is that all about?
Right. The gap insurance, I think, is a huge must if you're going to finance the vehicle. So what this basically means is if you're upside down in the vehicle, which means you could have negative equity. So say you trade in a car, it's not worth as much as you thought, or you don't put down a big enough payment, you're going to be what's called upside down in the car. You owe more than the car is worth. Okay.
Got it.
That's basically what it means. So let's say that you bought a $15,000 car, Nikki, and a week later, the car gets hit. Okay. The car was worth $15,000. You're paying $20,000 with your interest rate because you're a little bit upside down in the vehicle.
Right.
If you get hit in that car and it gets totaled, how much do you think the insurance company is going to pay for it?
Oh no.
The $15,000. They're not going to pay the $20,000 that you're owing on it. Right. So that's what the gap insurance protects you. It covers that gap, which I think makes total sense.
It does make sense.
However, there are other places that you can buy it. Okay. When you're in the hot seat, when you're in the finance office, they're going to make you think you got to buy this right now. You got to do it right this second.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to.
See, that's a good tip. That's a good tip.
Go to your insurance person, contact your insurance company. You can buy the gap insurance there. Usually a lot cheaper.
Okay. So. See, that's a great point. Now, what about the tire nitrogen?
Okay. The tire nitrogen, I'm a little bit skeptical about it.
Okay,
They claim that it's going to improve your mileage, that it's going to be better for the wear and tear on the tires. You know, I haven't seen any proof that this is actually true.
Really?
So to me, I'm okay with the air in my tires just the way that it is.
But they can scare you. That's the thing.
They can scare you. But you know what? Again, take somebody with you. Be prepared. Have your mind made up about these things. Do research. If you think the tire nitrogen makes sense for you, then that's fine. Personally, I'm a little skeptical on this one.
Okay. Now, we talked about gap insurance. What about credit insurance?
Credit insurance, to me, this is something you want to avoid because credit insurance is something that everybody is trying to sell you, including your credit card company.
Right.
Basically, what they're saying is, you know, if you become disabled, if you have an accident or something happens and you can't work, this is going to protect you so that we don't take the vehicle away. So what I would say in this case is if you're really concerned about this, if you have dependents or other people in your family that are going to need the vehicle, have a life insurance policy in the event of your untimely death. Do something that will pay off the vehicle first. Credit insurance is expensive. You probably don't need it, so I would avoid that one.
Okay, that makes sense. And finally, let me talk about GPS because we all feel like we need that now, and that's a big popular add-on. So what do you think about that?
Well, I kind of want to echo what you said last week. Most people have it on their phone now, so you probably don't need to worry about it. So unless the GPS already comes installed in the vehicle, you probably don't need it. If you really think you need GPS, in Albuquerque we don't. We've got the mountains. Those are a great director. You don't need to worry about if you're lost. That's right. You always know which way is east. If you really need GPS or if you're going to be moving to another city where it's a little bit difficult to navigate, go to Best Buy, go to a regular retailer, pay for it out of pocket. Remember, all of these add-ons, they're going to cost you more with interest, so you have to do the math.
You have to think about the interest. Are there any other add-ons that we should be aware of?
You know what? There's all sorts of different add-ons depending on the vehicle. But you know what? Find out what makes sense for you. Look at all of these items before you go into the dealership. See what they're going to offer you because you don't want to be pressured by the finance officer who's saying you got to buy this right this second.
We've all been in that position.
That's right.
Emilee, that is such good advice. And I know there's a lot more information that people can get on their savvy financial advice. So tell us where we can go.
That's right. We just did an episode on this very particular topic. So you can visit us at focusonthefuture.tv, or if you need to email us at focus@focusonthefuture.tv.
Fantastic. Thanks, Emilee. Great tips if anybody's going to buy a car. Listen to her. Now, oil fuels our lives, but a new documentary is about to hit the big screen that might make some reconsider what they think about oil, the oil business, and our relationship to petroleum. A sneak peek is coming up next.